The Wayne Ayers Podcast. The Wayne Ayers Podcast. Woohoo! Time to wake your ass up for a blessed day.
I don't even know where to start off at because, you of course everybody knows you voiced Toph, but
Yeah.
you also were in Finding Nemo, Kronk's New Groove, Carrier's Drawer, Brother Bear 2, Meet the Robinsons, and on top of that, you just had to put the Yale graduate on there.
Yeah. We got to
Like,
keep it interesting. Got to keep everybody on their toes.
yeah, it's like, wait, what? Yale graduate on there? Like, just to top it off, here you guys go. Here's this Yale degree I got. I would like, can you take us back from the beginning? Like, were you ever like considered like the chosen one in school?
I would not say that. I was not top of my class in high school. I did well, but I wasn't like the president and then like the valedictorian, and I wasn't like top of everything. But I was definitely viewed as very driven. I had a lot of dreams, had a lot of goals. So I guess that's been pretty present for most of my life. But no, I wouldn't say that I was like the special top of the class or chosen one or anything like that. No.
Okay, okay. So how did you even get to voice acting? 'Cause I know you're from Indiana. I think you moved to Los Angeles like when you're like 4 or 5. But like, was that the reason why, like, to do voice acting or just acting in general?
Uh, it kind of was because my mom wanted to move to LA. She loves sunshine and just liked kind of the opportunities that LA had to offer or has to offer. So we moved out here just because she wanted to. I was 4 years old. And then the next year, when I was 5, like a friend of mine was in a commercial. It sounded cool, it sounded fun. So I kind of got into the industry. And then around 6, 7 years old, that's when they opened up a voiceover department at my agency. And so they were like, hey, you read, you take direction well, you should try voice acting. So I did. Yeah, and then Finding Nemo was the first voiceover gig that I did, which was just additional voices, all the little baby turtles and baby fish, like, hey, what's over there? Let's go swimming, all that stuff. So yeah, that was the beginning.
Oh, that's amazing. So like, what made, how did you get signed? Because I know you just say you got your agency had it like at
Yes, it
how did you?
is. Lots of things have changed in the industry over the last 2 decades. Oh my gosh. Uh, so gosh, I'm trying to remember the actual beginning. I should talk to my mom about this, but I remember that we would walk into offices. I mean, maybe we gave them a call ahead of time, like saying that we were coming, but we would walk into offices with like my headshots and be like, hey, I'm interested in like working in commercials or working on TV. Do you have any agents in the office who are interested in like taking a meeting, who would like to meet me? And they would either say yes or no, and then we'd meet people, and either they'd be interested or they wouldn't be. So it was very like calm, I guess, and a little more approachable than it
Wow.
is now. Yeah, it was nice.
No,
Now
you
now you
gotta get
can't
into
like.
the building. You can't be
Yeah,
security.
no,
Like,
you
what are you
can't
doing
like you
here?
shouldn't email anybody. Like if you cold email anybody, you're gonna just get like sent to the trash. I don't know. It's very different, and I'm currently grappling with like trying to find an on-camera rep and like a manager. And so I'm in the same boat of a lot of people who are starting to enter the industry now because it's just different. So I'm trying to just use some friends who like the representation and like maybe can kind of pitch my things slash connect that way. Um, yeah, and I don't know, I've been using social media kind of as a tool, I guess, to just
That's
get
so
myself.
weird. That's so weird that you have to do that. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even though, like, if with everything you've done, it's weird that you even have to do that. I'm sorry.
Well, it's because it's so oversaturated. I mean, there's a lot of talented people who need representation, and a lot of the time you don't necessarily make money as a rep like immediately, right? It takes some time, it takes some growth. So if you can't see like the immediate payout, maybe sometimes there's a little bit of a delay in you signing somebody or in you getting signed. So it's business. Everybody's just trying to pay their bills and have a home and raise their family and whatever. So, I'm working on not taking it personally, but I know that whenever I find the right people who want to rep me, it's gonna be great. So
Right. Okay.
I'm excited.
I know, like, I think you after Avatar, you went off to do school. Like, what made you decide to like break from the industry at that point to pursue school?
It was always the plan. It was always kind of the goal to just like act when I was a kid. Um, be in as much as possible, and then I was gonna just stop and focus on being a doctor. That was like the trajectory at the time. That has changed, obviously, but at like 14, it was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna start high school, like I'm done professionally acting. And so that's what I did. And I told my agents that, and I was like, I'm gonna focus on high school. I want to go to prom. I want to go to college. I want to, do all the normal quote unquote things. And so I did. I just wanted, I don't know, I wanted those experiences, I guess. I wanted to go to high school for real, and I wanted to do the undergraduate experience, and so I did. I
Was
went
there
on.
like ever a point like were you ever offered something that made you like, oh, maybe I should just go back and try to do this thing? Like, was there any like projects you missed that you
No,
like, man, I could have?
I still occasionally worked in voiceover over the course of high school and college. There were a couple projects that I still booked and came back and recorded. Um, but no, there wasn't like some big, it's not like the next, like the Hunger Games came and they're like, hello, we would like, you know what I mean? So like, maybe if that had happened, maybe I would have changed my mind. But no, it was easy to just do school, and then it was like occasionally a little voiceover gig would like pop up, and I'd be like, cool, I can do that. Um, but yeah, no, there was nothing like tempting me to like, oh, you could have been in Lord of the Rings, anything. Nothing, nothing like that really happened. So it was easy to stay focused in school.
Okay, so I think you started voicing Toph when you were like 12 or 13. So
Mhm.
like how was like high school experience like were you like because like your voicing Toph, I know like when we were growing up, I think you're only like 2 years older than me, like Toph was like everything to us growing up. So it's like were you like I don't like how do you like were you like the famous person in school? Like, hey, did you tell people like, hey, I voiced Toph? They're like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? How is that? Like
No, again, I think being in LA is kind of funny because most people here, a lot of people here, work in the industry in some capacity. So being like a voiceover talent, first of all, I feel like is a much bigger deal now than it used to be. I feel like people didn't pay attention as much to like who was voicing their favorite characters at the time, and now people are. But but back then, like, other famous people went to my school, so nobody was particularly concerned about me. And I also think that the Avatar love wasn't as widespread as it is now. I think people watched it, and like a couple people were big fans, but like it wasn't like
I think social media helped with
everyone.
it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Social media helped. Netflix helped. Um, yeah, it all helped in, the last couple of years just as far as spread goes. But yeah, I think just it hadn't gotten quite as popular yet. And
I
people,
grew up. I grew up in Washington State, and like every week like Avatar came. There was like certain shows like One Piece, Avatar, Dragon Ball
yeah,
Z. Like once they come, like we used to talk about on Monday like at school, and teachers be like, "What are you guys are talking about?" We're like, "Yo, you didn't watch Avatar weekend."
Avatar.
So it was like a big thing for us. So I was like, oh, I always wondered that. Like you have been like crazy like our school.
Darn it. I should have gone there. No, I'm just kidding.
Also, do you work with Justin Bieber at some point, or was that for?
So, yes. No, I did not work with Justin Bieber, though that would have been a much cooler story. No, I I did. So I did a lot of background and ADR work for voiceover during the first few years that I started in voiceover. And so one of the projects was his movie Never Say Never. And a lot of these movies have to dub in like concert and like fan background noise, I guess, because like the actual audio at a concert or at an event is like way too loud and way too saturated. So me and like 10 other girls had to like come in and just sing all of his music and like chant the lyrics and like sob in the audience so that they could layer in all of like the crowd noise. So I entered not really being a Justin Bieber fan. I didn't not like him. I just like wasn't obsessed. Um, but then I left obsessed. So because I'm just screaming like baby, 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 oh, for like 7 hours. And there was this one girl backstage, like a VIP experience, whatever, and we were trying to figure out what she was saying because we didn't have the audio, so we were like reading her lips, and we were like, okay, I think she just says like, oh my gosh, I love you so much, and she's like sobbing, and so I had to just be like, oh my gosh, I just love you so much, and like dub in like her sound. It was really funny. Anyway, so yeah, fun times in voiceover.
That is very interesting. 'Cause I never knew they did that. That's like a
Yeah, why would you? Why would you think that they did that?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Like just I can always watch like music documentaries. Oh, I you just never catch up to that. I never
Yeah.
thought they would do that. Oh, that's interesting. It's
So
kind of,
funny.
no, yeah, that's dope. I know like a lot of kids growing up like wanted to get into Yale. Like, what's your advice for people like trying to get into Yale right now? 'Cause
Oh,
that's incredible. I don't like that's incredible. Like,
well, thank you. It's very sweet to say, but it's hard. I'm repping Toph, of course. You know, she's on here. The the college admissions process is so interesting now. I also just think that college in general has such a different place in like the mindset of just Gen Z and like current students. Because for a while, it was like you have to go to college to succeed. You have to go to college if you want to be successful and make money, blah, blah, blah. That narrative has very much changed. So now it's definitely like a specific choice. Like you want to go to experience like undergrad or experience Greek life or to get a specific kind of degree if you're pre-med or in law or whatever. Like it's more pointed. It's not so much as a necessity, I feel like. Um, and I tutored some kids after I graduated for a little bit, and watched them and like the college admissions process change. I think like the best thing you can do is just try to be so aggressively yourself, in every way. And I know that's kind of tricky because especially when you're a teenager, you're kind of like figuring that out, but just kind of lock into like what makes you you. Because if you are very much yourself, you're going to stand out on paper and, in a pile of applications that are all like, I like Yale because XYZ. Uh, and if you, I don't know, just what's unique, what's weird, be weird. It's okay to be weird. I think that's my personal best advice. Um, Maybe you really like ladybugs. I don't know. Maybe you're obsessed with the color orange. Maybe you toured campus and you became like what sold it for you was like this one lamppost on like the corner of these two streets, and you just like saw the street and like the lamp and you were like obsessed with how pretty it was. I don't know. Just like why are you you? Why are you different? Um, everybody's successful that's applying to an Ivy League school. So you being like, and then I won the championship and then I got 16 A pluses in a row. And all that stuff is just
everybody's doing that.
normal. Everybody's
Everybody's
an overachiever. Everybody's smart. So like, why are you weird? Why are you interesting? You know?
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. So
That's
how
kind of
was
that's
your
kind of
how was like your first day like on campus there? Like were you like, oh crap, I want
I was stressed. I was high key stressed. First of all, I missed my flight going there because it was weird. I don't hope they've changed this, but they closed security at midnight, but my flight was at like 1:30 a.m. So I was like in the check-in area with my mom and a couple of friends, and I was like, "Oh, I'll wait before I go through security because I want to like spend time with you before I leave." And then they closed security. I'm sitting right in front of the agents. They didn't even tell me. And then I go and they're like, "Oh, it's closed." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's closed? Like what? What?"
Mhm.
So anyway, so we started off undergraduate experience with drama, and that is pretty much what continued for the rest of the 4 years. But when we finally got there and finally like got started, my first day was it was a little stressful, but also a little underwhelming. Like I kind of expected undergrad to like give me more, but it's really more of a you get out of it what you put in, which is every situation. But I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what was going on. But I was yeah, I kind of got into like a cute outfit and just tried to be like ready for the day. I don't know. And then I very quickly found out that like everybody's very, very smart. And I was like, how did I get in here? What's going on? And there were people that I was living with who were upset that they got like a 93% on like a pop quiz. And I'm like, that's an A. I mean, I minus maybe, but like, what?
I
It's still,
hate those people.
why are you upset? I'm not gonna survive. Anyway, I
I'd be
survived. It's
like,
fine. But
I'm over here with like a B. I'm like, you're complaining about 93%.
yeah, I did well in high school. I did not do well in college. I was a solid like B for the most part, average. There were some A's. I got my first C, like, and I know that this is all dumb. It doesn't really matter. People are like, "Oh, boo-hoo, you got your first C." But I was used to getting A's, so I was a little bit traumatized. I was like, "Am I an idiot?" Yeah. So I was very much a B student in college.
What did you major in at Yale?
So I came in pre-med. I thought I was going to do like bio and econ. And I did really like econ, and I kind of wish I would have stuck with it. I ended up double majoring in theater and film because they don't have minors at Yale, so you have to double if you want to do two things, with concentrations in writing. So I basically majored in screenwriting. Screenwriting is what like I became really interested in. It's the reason I ended up majoring in film. I loved those classes. I loved creating a story. I loved the film program. So looking back, I think I would have ideally done like film and econ. That would have been a fun double, but you live and you learn. I ended up doing theater and film. So, yeah.
Okay, now I have to put you on the spot here. Since
Okay.
you did screenwriting, what would your like ideal be for like your first, like say like a studio company came to you with like, hey, we give you a $20 million budget to write this film or any film you want to.
Oh.
What would that be about?
Wow. Well, that's okay. 20 million? 20 million? Oof. I don't know. I have to think on that for a second. Well, I've got like a limited series idea that I really like that I'm hoping I can pitch to like a streaming service of some sort. I don't know if we need 20 million for it though. I feel like we could do a lot with like 5 million. Um, maybe
Even
8
better. If they're listening right now, it's even better for you guys. You could.
million. I got a great idea. But I'm thinking on a bigger scope. I feel like well, I don't know. This might be a little boring, but there's not like an LA version of Friends. Like New York was such like an iconic city for like Friends, so the 19 seasons, 18 seasons, whatever, how long it went. And like that dynamic of comedy and like physical comedy and just like the casting choices. And of course, some scenes didn't age well and aren't necessarily the most appropriate, whatever. But like that kind of show where like you can just technically watch any episode and still know what's going on and still be entertained. Um, and they were all good. Like most of the seasons, everything is good. They didn't, get bad after season two. So I would love to do like a large multicam comedy that's actually good and isn't like
We're
tiptoeing
missing
around.
those.
Huh?
We're missing those.
I
Those.
know, because everybody's too scared to like offend people now, and
We're
like
missing.
comedy is very careful, and it's hard. It's also hard to write. It's hard to write good comedy, and it's hard to find actors who are good at living in comedy too. So I think I would probably focus on that because we could use some laughs in the world. We stopped having fun a little bit. We need to have fun again. You know what I mean?
I mean, I miss the little sitcoms like the 90s or
Yeah,
like those are like
yeah.
literally the era of sitcoms. Like, and I don't know what happened. It's like
I know.
everybody just ran
We
away.
gotta have fun. Make the world fun again. That's gonna what I do with $20 million.
Oh, I forgot to ask you this earlier. You used to go by Jesse Flowers, and now you're back to your name. Like, how did that come? How did you come up with that name, and why did you go back?
I was 6 years old, and Michaela was just not doing it for me. A lot of people kept mispronouncing it. I got a lot of Michaels, a lot of Michelas, a lot of Michela, and I was like, you know what? It's just not it. Do you know what's a really cool name? Jessica. And then I was like, ooh, what's even cooler? Jessie. So I made it Jessie. My mom let me. And then the flower thing was just because I needed a last name and Jessie Murphy sounded weird. So I went and thought in the backyard for a little bit and came back and I was like, Flower, Jessie Flower. She's like, okay, this is gonna be like on your headshots and like on, potentially in credits. And I'm like, yep, sounds good to me. Let's do it. Just 6-year-old me being me.
Nice. Oh, I'm glad you even got to pick your own stage name. That's dope.
Yeah, fun.
Oh, we gotta transition to Avatar, of course, like
Do
'cause
it.
that's like literally you voice my favorite character. Like I literally would go to war for Toph. Like
Oh, thank you. You're sweet.
I know they're not I think you said like last year that you're not gonna be in the your original cast is not voicing the 2025 film or
I
series
think,
that come
yeah,
out.
I don't know. I'm not, as unless timeline, unless they're recording next year or this year and I haven't heard yet. But I think Dante's returning for some portion of his things, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know if the rest of us are. I don't think so. If that's wrong and then we're called back, obviously that'd be awesome. But as of right now, no. As of right now, we're
Shit, that
just
doesn't make any sense. Like I said, wait, did you voice Toph in the Korra show?
No, I voiced my own daughter in a flashback scene, young Su Yin, when Lynn got her scar. But I was only like, I think I was 16 when they were doing Korra, so like they obviously had to cast like adult women to to voice Toph, especially older Toph in, season 3, I think is that when she comes back in, or is it season 4? I can't remember. But especially older Toph, they had to cast older for sure.
Okay, yeah, but I was like, oh no, I heard that. I was like, wait, what? I said, you guys have,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
guys is just haven't heard anything yet? Because I don't think they're even done writing the thing yet, as I've heard.
I honestly have no idea. It would be cool if we had some big like Avatar cast and crew Discord or something where we just kept each other up on like what's
Yeah,
happening.
we need
But
something. We need like a reunion or something. So we need fans need answers.
yeah.
Like what's going on here?
I know. Well, but Avatar Studios, I mean, I've talked with Mike and Brian. Avatar Studios is hard at work. They're pumping out work as best and as quickly as they can because that's the great thing about Avatar is like it's such a great show for a reason. They were very careful with all of their choices. They wanted to make sure their characters were fully developed and that the story arc and the detail, they're very careful with their storytelling. So they're planning on probably doing the same with all of their new content. So, we'll let them cook. They're cooking. It's okay. It'll be ready when it's ready and it'll be amazing when it's ready to go. So,
Nice. How does it feel that Toph has like a massive fan base after all of these years? Because it's like
pretty
crazy.
wild. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty crazy. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty grateful about it, first of all. That's pretty cool. The fact that she comes in season 2 is kind of wild because every time I talk to people, they're like, I forget that like she doesn't come in until like episode 6 in season 2. Like there's that whole first season, and I'm like, where's Tom? And I'm like, you're so sweet. It's cool. She's been helpful for me uh in good and bad moments just because she's so independent and stubborn and hard-headed and opinionated. But she also learns that she does need her friends and like you can't do everything by yourself. Uh, and it's important to just like lean on people and like trust them and then have them trust you in return. And just important big lessons that she helps me and I think a lot of other people with. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. I'm not mad about it.
No, yeah. When you were voicing Toph, did you know that she would be this iconic?
Absolutely not. Nobody did. Nobody knew that their characters would be so iconic. This is a weird, yeah, a weird thing of like it almost hitting harder. We're approaching 20 years now, 20 years later than it did when it first came out. And it hit hard when it came out, but now everybody grew up and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that show. It's so good. And then they rewatch it and they're like, oh wait, it really is so good. Like it's still good. Like, wait a second. There's longevity here. So yeah, it's nobody had any idea. We were just making a cool show and yeah. And then heading our separate ways. We're like, okay, cool. That's all done. 3 seasons. Do do do. On to the next project. And then here we are.
Nice. So, what has been like the most heartwarming like fan react interaction you have?
Oof. Okay, so there isn't one because it's just too hard. I've met too many cool people, too many awesome people at this point. But I think the coolest impacts are when, young girls or girls who struggled with being a little different or maybe being a little more tomboy or being a little more tough and but they still like felt like a girl, but they just felt a little off because they weren't like into shopping or weren't into like being super girly girls. And they kind of found a character to relate to. And so they're like, she really made me feel comfortable being me and being myself and being a little, rough around the edges and not adhering to kind of these expectations of what a girl should be. And then the other, I guess, big group that is really cool to talk to has been just the disabled community because Toph is like the first disabled character. And I didn't really know this at the time when I was recording, but she's like the first disabled character who is so chill and cool with her disability. And technically her disability makes her stronger. So that's even cooler because then people are like, I felt just super seen and supported. And I was like, wait a second, this isn't like a hindrance. This is like my superpower. This is what makes me me. This is what makes me, and just like that's kind of incomparable. Like I don't even know. And I'm just a representation. Like obviously I didn't create Toph. I didn't create anything in this show. So like I feel just like an extension of like Mike and Brian's creation. And so the fact that people resonate so much with her and like with my portrayal of her is just wild. I've met a lot of visually impaired people, but even people who are missing a leg, or maybe they have something internal. Maybe they had like a really intense surgery, and so now they like their nervous system is a little, just any sort of disability. It expands way further than just blindness or vision. Um, so yeah, those people have been really cool to talk to. Yeah, and girlies who are like, I can do anything, and I'm like, yeah, you can.
Oh
So
yeah, I think one of my favorite things about Avatar is like they showcase like I feel like every female character on the show is just badass, and I feel like it's like really one of the only shows that I've seen that at. So like how would like looking back on it, like how do you like just like what does that repetition or representation mean to you?
I think it's important. I think I'm grateful that I got cast in it because at the time I didn't really see that as like something different. I didn't have cable growing up, so I wasn't watching too much TV at the time. So I just kind of assumed, all characters would be written so well. Because why wouldn't they be? I'm, 11-year-old, 12-year-old me. I'm like, oh yeah, this is whatever. Like, of course it's easy to voice these characters. Of course, feels like a normal, teenage girl, but I didn't realize how not true that, was for other shows. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing to also have super strong and like, I don't know, independent, wonderful female characters who are also flawed. It's not like everybody's perfect either. Like everybody very much has their weaknesses where they're being stubborn or where they're just being whiny or where they want to give up or where they're angry, where they're letting their ego get the best of them. Like they're full people, like they're full characters. There's a lot to like grab onto with each of them. So I don't know. I'm grateful, I guess, because I can still relate to her now, even though I'm almost 30. Crazy. Yeah, I can still relate to her now. Even I guess more differently, I guess, than when I was 12 and 13. So yeah.
So I have to know
Right.
because like Toph has so many like iconic like scenes. I feel like every time she's on screen, it's just like she's either hilarious or she's doing something just crazy and like event.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
what's your favorite Toph scene? Like,
Oof. I mean, there's so many. Earth Rumble 6, like the Blind Bandit episode, is just it's so iconic. Like what an intro. Just slamming down massive dudes. Pretty hard to beat. But I do love the library when she really starts getting comfortable with her blind jokes, and she's like, look, there it is. That's what it'll sound like when one of you spots it. Like that iconic moment. When she invents metal bending and figures out a way to escape from her little, cage, iconic moment. Um, all the blind jokes are so good. All the blind jokes are so good. And yeah, I think it was like Day of Black Sun or whatever when Sokka's like, I'm so happy we added you to the team or whatever. Just like funny, funny moments. Tales of Ba Sing Se is sweet with her moment with Katara. I love all of them. I love the episode of the library. It's one of my favorites, just like aesthetically. I think the library is beautiful. I think the owl is beautiful. I think the lore is beautiful of that episode. Um, but yeah, it's kind of hard for me to pick one Toph moment because they're all so good.
yeah, it's like every time she's on screen, it's just
Every
like,
time.
yeah, it's
Hitting
not,
every time.
it was never a missed moment. You brought Toph to life, of course, and the next Avatar is supposed to be an Earthbender. So like, how does like you think there gonna be any like correlation to like Toph? You think that Avatar would be like kind of like look up to Toph in any way at all or not? Because she left a legacy, like she created middle bending, she established a lot of stuff in the future as well.
Can you repeat the first half of that question? Sorry.
Like, do you think that the upcoming Avatar that's gonna be Earthbender like kind of like looks up to Toph in any sort of way, or is it going to be the same?
Oh. Um, Honestly, I have no idea. I feel like the live action is so. You're talking about the live action or the new animated stuff?
The upcoming one, they're supposed to be what do you call it? They're supposed the next Avatar is going to be an Earthbender. The one
Got
that
you.
they're
Okay,
making.
cool. Okay, I was
Korra,
like,
it
which
was
direction are
Korra,
we headed?
then it was Korra. Now the next one's supposed to be an Earthbender.
Yes. I mean, probably. How could you not? I mean, she invented metal bending. So, like, there's a whole sub-bending culture thanks to her. So, I'm assuming, I'm assuming she'd probably go to Toph if Toph is still living. See, I don't know, timeline wise.
No, I don't think Top Hall will be living, but like you kind of you know how you
Oh,
like you
maybe.
look up to them.
Oh yeah, of course. No
Yeah,
question in my mind. Absolutely. You kidding? Duh. Iconic.
No, yeah, yeah. Okay, I got some fan questions for you. One person asked, did you ever accidentally slip into Todd's voice in an everyday conversation after doing the series?
Well, Toph voice was just me at 12. So absolutely. And I feel like I still kind of sound like her now, especially if I like kind of raise my voice. If I'm ever kind of talking like this, she definitely creeps in there. And sometimes people notice and sometimes people don't. Most of the time people don't. Because like, I don't look like her out of context, whatever. But no, absolutely.
Another person asked, if you could have a heart-to-heart with a conversation with any character from the series, who would it be and why?
Ooh, well, I mean, Uncle Iroh. He's all of our therapists.
No, yeah, I was definitely favorite uncle.
For sure.
If you could combine two bending styles, what would your hybrid bending look like?
Well, actually, I've answered this. I think I'm technically a lava bender. I'm kind of fire and earth mixed together. So lava is kind of who I am, and that's probably what I'd pick as far as combining
That's
bending.
not,
Yeah.
no, that's fun. I like that. If you could add an extra episode to the series, what untold story would you explore?
Hmm. Interesting. I feel like Toph didn't really get her like budding flirtation moment ever like reciprocated. Like she had, oh, Sokka, you saved me like moment. And then she was like trying to go on her life-changing adventure with Zuko. So like I just feel like if there was a moment where like maybe somebody was trying to flirt with her and she like wasn't getting it or something, just like I don't know, like everybody hopes to be like desired and like wanted and whatever. So like seeing that given to her, I feel like would have been like a little nice. But she's also young. I mean, everybody's young, so like that happens later, I'm sure. But maybe towards like the end, if there was like just a little moment, maybe in like Ember Island Players, or maybe there was one more episode where they had like a little adventure where they just like went into town somewhere and like tried to blend in and like she got flirted with, or like she and Katara and like everybody got flirted with somewhere. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like it could have been more fun. But I'm not mad because there are too many and a lot of narratives that focus on only romance or only attraction or so it's like it's okay. It's okay that it's not there, but I think, you know, seeing her have those little moments of like, oh, kind of have a crush, and then just them getting squashed. I was like, no, too relatable, too relatable.
I actually would have loved to see that little like somebody kind of like hitting on top of it. And like
Yeah.
her not knowing because she yeah, and that actually kind of been kind of funny.
Yeah,
And like Qatar be like get the hint. Like you know what
I know.
I'm
I know.
saying? Top has like witty one-liners just are just legendary.
Oh.
What top quote like really sticks out to you?
Well, the from the library, look, there it is. That's what it'll sound like when one of you spots it. That's like one of my top ones. But I also love later when they're in, I think they're in Bossing Say, when she's like, yeah, let's break some rules. And then just like blows through an entire wall of a house. I love that one too. Um, yeah. And then when they're like in the hole and I think Sokka's like, I can't see anything down here. And I'm like, oh no, what a nightmare. Also awesome. Yeah. Those three.
Oh, nice. Good. Okay, I know you outside like voice acting, you're also mo you do modeling. I heard you do is it you do singing as well, right?
I do. I sing, yes.
And then you're also doing Broadway. Like, how do you balance all of this?
I don't. Not well. I think there's been lots of different eras. There's a lot of ebb and flow, but your brain can only do so much at once. Pre-COVID, I was in New York auditioning for Broadway. I was singing with a cover band. I was auditioning every day. I was in dance classes. I was going crazy. And then COVID happened and they put Avatar on Netflix. And then, we shifted into a new era. My mom was still in LA. I was like, I think I'll go back to LA for a little bit because New York was very much shut down. Kind of got back into voice acting. I started writing again. Just this last year, I finally started singing more again. Um, yeah, there's just kind of an ebb and flow. It's really hard to do everything all at once, but I do think it's possible to do everything you want to do at a specific time or like when you finally have time for it. So I don't think I'm done with New York. I'm not done with Broadway. I'm not done with theater, but right now we're in kind of LA, we're in LA voice acting, and then I'm in a scene study class and trying to get some on-camera representation. So we're kind of shifting into maybe on-camera era. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't have time for it all. That's the answer.
I think I saw on IMDb that you're going to play Gabriella and I think what's it Teeth? Is that what it's called? I don't know. It has if I'm not it's
A
you're
new
gonna play
film.
yeah, it's like a new film supposed to be coming out. It's like
Yes. Yeah, it's newer. I just got that info like, a month ago. They're still like raising funds and kind of putting together the cast. So like, when it happens, it'll happen. But if it doesn't, it does. Hollywood, who knows? Things change all the time. But it's just a short, sweet. I think I've got like 2 lines. It's like a little on-camera cameo. So I'm hoping that it happens, and that would be great and fun. So yeah, we'll see.
nice. And like is there like any like say like shows or movies that you see upcoming out that you would love to be a part of? Or that's even happening now that's extending for another season?
I'm excited to be a part of projects that would like to cast me. That's that's pretty much where I'm at. I think it would be fun to be in an action movie of some sort. I dance, I'm pretty active. I do trapeze and I've done some gymnastics, so like I can do some light stunts and jumping and things that we have to run and move quickly or hop on a horse and ride somewhere. So if there's some version of like the next Hunger Games or something, I don't know, that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, or an awesome sitcom.
Yep.
So
We discussed it.
yeah.
No, yeah. I would love to see you like as a villain in an action movie.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting to that point. I don't know why we shifted recently. It started being like, oh yeah, I think I could play I could play a decent villain. I don't know if it's the hair. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like 'cause I'm a little more pointy, so like and like the nails are a little pointy. I don't know what. No, but a lot of people have been saying that, so I'm like, who knows? Maybe she's in her villain era. Like
No new heads at DC. Maybe Poison Ivy pops up.
hey, that's fine by me. Let me know. I'm ready.
I mean, yeah, they're doing a whole new thing at DC, so Poison Ivy might that might be the one.
That'd be cool.